Hello, welcome to Triggered Care. I'm Alex. Today I'm going to be talking about parental love holes, which is not a professional term. This is a term that I've kind of used for myself and when talking to friends and other people in support groups and all of that. And so I kind of just wanted to share my own personal definition with you. So let's get into it. First, what do I mean when I say parental love holes? That's just my way of saying the void that you feel that you have from not connecting or imprinting on your caregivers when you were a baby through toddlerhood. Which for most of us, our caregivers were our parents. It's also known as, like, what I'm referring to in a technical term is the attachment trauma or the attachment disorder that can occur from not receiving the right love and care when you needed it the most when you were a new person, when you were a tiny baby. And this can cause a lot of relationship symptoms that are very difficult to handle. It's really difficult to know what's going on while you're going through these things. So let's talk about that a little bit. What kind of symptoms do you get from not receiving the love that you were supposed to as a baby? For me, I've had both intense attachment issues along with intense detachment issues. For the intense attachment issues, the easiest thing to call out right away is just being needy, with quotation marks around needy. Everybody kind of knows what that is referring to, being clingy, being almost obsessive about your significant other or a friend or a trusted loved one, where you want to talk to them all the time. You want that reinforcement that they care about you, that they love you. You feel a need to have that reaffirmed constantly. Feeling like no one can care about you the way that you care about people. Feeling like you have all this love and affection that you want to put out there, but it seems like nobody in your life can really return it in the same intensity that you can. And then also, what is that? I wrote it down. Oh, fawning tendencies. And if you know your 4 F's for survival brain, which I've talked about before, fawning is when you excessively take care of a person. You want them to be happy at you. It's a survival skill, or a survival mode, if you will, for living with abusers. You learn very quickly, if you take care of them, if you serve them, if you make sure all their needs are met before they have to say it, your life will go on easier. And so in adulthood, this can spread to whoever you want to maintain a relationship with. You feel like you need to take care of them. You need to put their wants above your own. You need to be thinking about them all the time. And on the flip side of that, detachment issues, that's when you close yourself off from talking about your feelings, from expressing your feelings, because you feel like, first, no one cares, and second, if you were to express your feelings, it would just be a burden on other people. They will just become distraught over you sharing your feelings, so it would be better just to keep those to yourself. For me, I feel when I'm triggered out and I'm having relationship issues, sometimes it feels safer to keep all my stuff to myself and to just let it rot away my brain versus talking about it, because I don't want to put that on other people. I don't want to stress other people out with my stresses. And the last symptom here for detachment issues is when you will cut somebody off, or you start a fight in order to distance yourself from a person before they can hurt you. Like, I'm going to draw this line in the sand of we can't be close because I already know the outcome of that and it's going to be bad. So why does this happen exactly? Well, our parental love that we're supposed to have in order to function is not there. And so it kind of just ruminates in your body, and it's like it's looking for another outlet. Like, someone will give me unconditional love. If my mom can't do it, if my dad can't do it, maybe my significant other can fill that hole, maybe my children can fill that hole, maybe my friends can fill that hole and make me feel better. But it does not work that way. That parental love hole does not go away if you get married. It does not go away if you get into a relationship. It is going to remain there, and then that can be discouraging, because if you're on your journey and if you get to that point where all of a sudden you're married and you're making friends and you're having family, but you still feel that loneliness, you still feel that hurt, like nobody cares about you and nobody loves you in the right way, is because your mother or your father or both of them did not love you in the right way. And that's a really hard feeling to escape, because there's no way to find a person that's supposed to love you like your mother. There's no way to fix that. That time has passed. The time that you needed to be loved in order to feel that void get full is already gone. You cannot fill that void with other people's love and affection at this point, because your inner child is already scarred from that. So, in order to work through it, you need to learn first where it comes from, and then you need to start loving yourself with that unending empathy and unconditional love. Now, that does not mean that you just accept everything that you do as, oh, that's okay, dear. There can still be self-criticism and self-analyzing when you love yourself unconditionally. Because that's what a good mother would do. A good mother wouldn't just let her child run all over her and enable the crap out of them and be like, oh, but I'm loving him the right way. That's not how you love a child the right way. You love a child the right way by teaching them, okay, this is right, this is wrong. But then when the child makes a mistake, you don't go ham on them and start beating them over the head and calling them names. You sit them down and you explain, okay, well, I think you might have made a wrong choice here, but let's talk about what happened. Let's talk about your brain process, and let's figure out how we can avoid it in the future. And that is very key for recovery, is being sweet and nice to yourself. Not letting yourself on the hook for everything, like you can just do whatever you want and it's like, well, I still love myself. But, you know, when you do make those mistakes, being honest with yourself, like, hey, I really didn't like my behavior right there. You know, what happened? Why did I behave that way? Okay, and then even through criticizing yourself, you're still implementing that love of, oh, well, I still love myself. I'm still a worthy person, and it's going to be okay. And self-parenting is hard as hell. It took me a long time to start talking nice to myself. But it does help a lot, especially with that void. That void will pop up less and less once you foster a loving relationship with yourself. And looking to other people to foster that can lead to really unhealthy relationship dynamics. It makes the other person feel more responsible, and not only that, that can almost transfer your shame to them by going, oh, well, how am I not treating them right? You know, like, I thought I was doing well. I care about them and I love them, but somehow it's not enough for them. And that can spiral into new abuse dynamics and cycles that are really hard to get out of once you're in them. Me and my husband have very much experienced some of this. The easiest example that I can think of is the first time he went out of town for a trip, and he was gone for a week. And I wept uncontrollably for days. I couldn't move. I couldn't really feed myself. It was almost like he was my safe person, and then without my safe person, I felt crushed, like I was a little girl who was abandoned. And we've been married for a long time now. He's had a few trips out of town, and every time he leaves now, I'm getting a little bit better at handling it. And that is thanks to recovery and learning how to love myself, and learning how to not judge myself for being a little bit needy with him, and communicating with him why I got so upset when he left, why there's an intense feeling coming from me that he just can't match in a way. But he can't match it because he has a better relationship with his parents. He doesn't necessarily have the same parental love hole that I do. And that doesn't mean that he loves me less than I love him more. It means that my love had more of an obsessive quality to it that is not a healthy quality. It is remnants from living in a very dysfunctional household. So that's what I mean when I talk about parental love holes and sort of how it affects you in your relationships. I was talking about it with a friend of mine the other day, and he's getting involved in a somewhat romantic relationship. It's not quite there yet, but he was telling me, how intense it feels, and like it's flooding his brain with endorphins, but then there's a part of him that's worried that he's going to come on too strong, and he's going to ruin it by having all these intense feelings that he doesn't know what to do with. And I brought up parental love hole, and I'm like, well, because of our parental love holes, the beginning of relationships, the crush into dating time is very intense, because our parental love holes are just spinning in hope of, oh, this person's going to fix it. This person's going to give me the love that I miss, and it's going to fix me. It's going to fix who I am. I'm not going to be sad anymore if I get this love. And that's really dangerous, because like I said, no one you meet can really fill that void. They can't fill that hole. That time of filling that void has passed, with other people being able to fill it. So just tiptoeing around, how much do I share? How much love and attention do I give somebody if I think it's coming from my parental love hole versus just from me, is taking a step back and making sure that you're giving yourself enough love, and talking openly about it with the person that you're interested in. Just saying, I can come off as intense sometimes, and I'm sorry for that, but I have a mental illness, and that can make me kind of needy, especially at first, especially the first few months of a relationship can be really intense, where you're trying to bond with them the way you're supposed to bond with your parents, but it's not going to work out like that. So just keeping that in mind, and then ultimately the best you can do for yourself is to go to therapy, to go see doctors, to try out medicine if you want to, but you definitely don't. I'm unmedicated. I don't take a daily medication. I only have my crisis medication, or just trying to go no medication at all. Talk therapy is very helpful with sorting this stuff out and learning how to love yourself, and how to lessen that love hole void that is a horrible, terrible feeling, like you don't deserve love and you're different and nobody can understand you. I promise people can understand you. The issue is, in adulthood, you cannot fill that void anymore, because your inner child is stuck in your body feeling that void. That inner child needs you to be the one to give it unconditional love, and to teach it in a way that your parents couldn't. So, that's my video on parental love holes. I have all my links down below for the Discord, for the Facebook, for my email. Feel free to leave your comments. Yeah, that's about it. So I hope y'all have a good one.